Good evening, I'm Macy Marie. There was another deadly shooting at a house of worship today. This time it happened at a synagogue near San Diego, California. One person is dead and 3 others were hurt. As Kenneth Craig reports, the 19-year-old man is in custody as authorities investigate his motive.
The attack happened inside this Southern California synagogue, allegedly at the hands of a 19-year-old man. Authorities say he gunned down worshipers, killing 1 woman and injuring 3 others, including a young girl.
He was just focused to kill. You saw the hate and you saw the murder in his eyes.
The suspect has been widely reported. Identify the suspect as John Earnest.
According to the sheriff, upwards of 100 people may have been inside the synagogue.
And he had a vest, and he had like clips in the vest. You know, he was ready.
After the gunman opened fire, authorities say he tried to get away. Officials say a short time later, the shooter surrendered, calling into authorities to turn himself in.
As our officer was exiting the freeway, he clearly saw the suspect in his vehicle. Suspect pulled over, jumped out of his car with his hands up. As the officer was placing this 19-year-old male into custody, he clearly saw a rifle sitting on the front passenger seat of the suspect vehicle. And the suspect, as I said, was taken into custody without any further incident.
As a precaution, the San Diego Police Department said it was providing extra patrols to nearby houses of worship. Kenneth Craig, CBS News.
The synagogue shooting comes 6 months to the day after 11 people were killed at the Tree of Life Synagogue massacre in Pittsburgh. Recovery efforts are underway in Louisiana Tech at Ruston after a devastating EF3 tornado shredded parts of the campus there. Crews began moving fallen tree and debris into trucks early in the morning on Friday, but this damage left over is still astonishing. This video shows a massive tree that toppled over 3 cars, smashing them by student housing. One student says she did not think the storm would amount to much. School officials called off classes to clean up. In Mozambique, the strongest cyclone ever to hit the country has demolished homes and knocked out power. This powerful cyclone made landfall on Thursday after killing 3 people in the nearby island nation of Comoros. Although winds have died down, heavy rain is expected over the next few days. The storm hit exactly 6 weeks after Cyclone Idea tore into central Mozambique, killing more than 700 people.
Well, the first half of our Saturday was pretty spectacular, plenty of sunshine, but the second half pretty gloomy and a little soggy. Let's go ahead and take you outside right now to the University of Virginia in Wise. This time-lapse camera kind of gives you a recap of the day. We started off with sunshine, then those clouds moved in and those showers moved in as well. You can see those here on satellite and radar. Overall, we started off dry, and then those clouds really entered into the region. The moisture entered into the region with a couple rounds of that rainfall. A lot of us are in a break right now, except for those southeastern counties. Looks like it's just now getting out of Pikeville, so you guys should be in the clear for the next few hours. Looks like it's just getting out of Harlan as well. Middlesboro, you are also in the break right now. So overall, a lot of that rain still just affecting our southeastern counties into Virginia, but overall, most of us catching a break right now. Now here's your emoji cast looking ahead. So tonight we're going to continue those scattered rain chances into the overnight hours, but Sunday, all hard eyes because we are drying out with a little bit of cooler temperatures on the way, and Sunday we'll see a mixture of sun and clouds and a little bit cooler temperatures. Macy.
All right, thank you, Kelly. Security forces have recovered explosives, detonators, suicide kits, military uniforms, and Islamic State group flags during a raid on a suspected militant safe house in eastern Sri Lanka. At least 15 people, including 6 children, were killed in a blast during the nighttime raid, which was linked to the Easter bombings. The gun battle began late on Friday after police tipped off soldiers to the suspected safe house. Authorities said the militants set off 3 explosions and opened fire. Police said some of the dead were likely militants who blew themselves up in suicide bombings. Eyewitness footage shows French police arresting protesters as yellow vest demonstrators marched toward the European Parliament building in Strasbourg on Saturday. And in what is the 24th consecutive weekend of protest against President Emmanuel Macron's policies, protesters were back on the streets across France 2 days after the president outlined policy proposals, including tax cuts worth around 5 billion euros. Around 2,000 demonstrators gathered. And back here in the mountains, Handmade and Heinemann held their 4th annual celebration today at HCTC Kentucky School of Craft Building. WYMT reporter Lauren McCord talked with local artists who say keeping the Appalachian culture alive is what it's all about.
Many years have come and gone, and as time goes by, some say Appalachian culture is fading.
It's such an important time for us to be able to look back and remember our roots and our culture and our heritage and where we came from.
Making sure we don't forget where we came from, Hazard Community and Technical College, along with the Appalachian Artisan Center, teamed up to host Handmade and Heinemann.
Just keeping these skills alive. A lot of people collect these tools. There's a tool here I'm using called a froe in a froe mall. People collect them, but they don't know what they did.
From walking sticks,
and some fancy whittling where we go with the grain, with the lines in the wood and how the tree grew to make a good hiking stick.
To weaving baskets.
There's not any nails, there's not any glue.
These folks want to continue the Appalachian crafts that were passed down to them.
And my dad took the bark off of a poplar tree and folded it over and laced it together and made a basket, and that's the first one I ever saw.
Though it may take a little time,
you really have to have patience.
And a whole lot of effort.
When it's finished, it's worth it.
Continuing the mountain tradition is what it's all about. In Knott County, Lauren McCourt, WYMT Mountain News.
President Lyndon says they had a wonderful turnout this year and they cannot wait to plan next year's event. April is National Child Abuse Prevention Month. Many in Pikeville gather to bring awareness to the cause today. Around 250 people laced up their shoes for the 12th annual Judy's Place for Kids Run with Courage 5K. After that race, nearly 1,000 people packed the Pikeville Park. Former First Lady Judy Patton says it's an important step to keep the topic of child abuse awareness and prevention going.
Awareness, awareness, awareness. Talk, talk, talk. Keep it out in front for everybody to see.
Judy's Place for Kids is a nonprofit organization providing resources to children who suffer from a variety of maltreatment. Multiple booths were set up to give out information and free items. The money raised during the race will go toward funding for Judy's Place. A Navy fireman who made the ultimate sacrifice during World War II now lies in his final resting place near his hometown of Milton, Kentucky. Willard Irvine Lawson served on the USS Oklahoma in Pearl Harbor and was killed during that attack. But he was listed as missing in action for years. Just a few years ago, Lawson's remains were identified through some DNA testing. He still has family back in Milton. Lawson was buried with military honors this afternoon in Madison, Indiana, just across the river from Milton. The driver police say is responsible for a fiery crash that killed 4 people in Colorado was back in court today. Rajo Lazaro Aguero Medeiros faces numerous charges of vehicular homicide. A judge set his bond at $400,000. He has no prior criminal history whatsoever. Police say he appears to have lost control of the truck. He told his family that the brakes went out. A crane collapsed Saturday afternoon, falling onto several lanes of traffic in downtown Seattle, Washington. Officials say 4 people were killed when that happened. Emergency crews responded to Mercer Street and Fairview Avenue around 3:30 p.m. that time. All westbound and eastbound lanes were closed indefinitely. The crane fell across a building undergoing construction along Mercer Street. The cab of the crane fell onto all lanes of traffic below, trapping several cars underneath it. 2 500-foot cooling towers at a closed power plant in Somerset, Massachusetts were imploded on Saturday. And you can hear that here. The towers at Brayton Point Power Station along Mount Hope Bay came down shortly after 8 a.m. this morning. The plants were long considered one of the dirtiest in the region, and the controlled implosion took just a few seconds. Still to come at 11, Canadians deal with flooding as a potential dam break also causing problems there. That video is next. And while the weather was pleasant here today, parts of the Midwest saw snow.
Well, like Macy just said, the weather was mostly pleasant today, but we're ending it on a soggy note. I'll let you know when we catch a break in the rain in my forecast coming up.